Howdy, folks. I had another brainstorm the other day, surprisingly enough, and I wanted to share with you my ideas or my thoughts and opinions on what it means to be creative. What does it mean to be creative or to be a creative thinker or person? Now, let's explore that if you'll indulge me for a few minutes on what it means to be creative and to be a creative person. Think about success and failure and creativity, how sometimes those concepts can go hand in hand. How, for example, Thomas Edison, a famous inventor, famous American, who was by all measures successful. But how many times did he say he failed, or he didn't like to use the word failure, when he created the light bulb? How many things, how many iterations, how many prototypes did he go through before he found one that succeeded? Many times he failed at creating the light bulb, but those weren't failures in his eyes. It wasn't failure of creativity in his eyes. He saw them as ways to use, to gain knowledge, experience, and to figure it out. So sometimes it's fascinating to me how success, failure, creativity can all go intertwine together, and how we measure the value that we put in the world. Success and creativity are great together, and sometimes failure is just as valuable, though. So keep that in mind. Not all the times will something succeed. Not all the times will we become famous and make lots of money, and to be able to do not everyone has the same resources and the same abilities and the same time and energy to do the things that they want to do, to succeed at the things they want to succeed in. So it's worthwhile to try and to get out there and to do what we want to do. Everyone, in their own individuality, in their own unique and distinct ways, defines creativity or being creative differently. We're all different people, from A to Z, from 6 to 60, no matter what culture, what business, what person, family, region, country, whatever, wherever you're from. Everyone's different. I think that's great. I think it's awesome that we're all individuals, that we're all different, and that we all express our creativity different. It's no one way to define creativity, or to be creative, or to define the word creative one way. It's not something you can do to adequately express what it actually means to be creative. So I'm glad that we're all creative, and that we're all created in different ways. We're created by our Creator to be creative, I think, and we all express that in different ways. Some people are really good at baking, cooking. Some people are really skilled craftsmen. Some people are good on the sports fields. Some people are good, just to help bolster and mentor the creativity of others. And some of us just like to write and to think creatively, to offer up creative ideas and solutions. And some people are just creative at their job and creative at making money. And some people are just creative at not being creative, honestly. I have 3 teenage boys, and they're very creative at coming up with ways to not do their homework or to not do their chores. Not always, I know that's not always true, but sometimes kids can be real creative when they want to get out of doing something, or to come up with ways to explain why they didn't do something. So we can all be creative in that way. My wife, she's very creative at crafting and cooking and creative ways to call me out on my bull crap. She's very good at that. And some people are very creative in their bull crap, and so we need to be called out on it often. I like to be I don't know, we all have different talents and skills and attributes and abilities, and we all have different life experiences and different people who shape and help form our opinions on our lives. And so it's no one way to define creative or to be creativity, or to define creativity to be creative. And so let's just explore it a little bit more, though, what it means to me to be creative. Take my dad, for example. I've talked about my dad, and he was a very creative carpenter, craftsman. He was a very creative man who just was a Renaissance man, if I ever met one. He knew how to do a lot of things, and he taught me a lot of things to this day that helped me be more creative in the job and task and personal and professional things that I want to do. He was really good. He had this saying that I like, that some are called to teach, some are called to preach, but some were just called to cut the grass. That's a ministry unto itself. A church or a house with a very bad, unkempt lawn, can be a statement unto itself. So some people are very crafted and skilled at making a lawn and making a house and a home look really good. And some people enjoy that. That's their passion. And that's what it's all about, to be creative for me. To follow your passion, to follow what you love, to embrace your comfort zone, to step outside your comfort zone, to try something new if that's what you want to do. Because sometimes you don't know what you like and what you want to do, and to be creative. Creativity can be a passion, can be a job, a driving force. We measure success sometimes, businesses and sometimes the cultural entities and philosophies tend to, mission statements, they tend to drive the bottom line. Dollar signs are what show you your measure of success. What is success to a creative person? Is it in the 10,000 or the 5,000 likes that a comment or a tweet, or how many times it's been retweeted, or how many people are following our Instagram, or a lot of people come and go. There are a lot of, forget the social media jerks or the cyber bullies or trolls. Just forget them. We can sometimes be our own worst and our own best fans, our own worst critics. And so we can take criticism and feedback and use it. It's up to you. When people give you feedback of any kind, you should take it, use it to make yourself better, or push it aside and say, if that's not what I'm doing, that's nothing to do with what I'm doing, then don't let it get to you. Don't let it bring you down. Don't let it stifle your creativity. Some days it's just good to get outside and feel the sun on your face and the breeze on your back and just enjoy the day. And sometimes that can be creative in unto itself, just to experience life and to get out there and try something, experience something new. Anytime you go into a store, be creative in your dinner plans, be creative in your lunch plans, try something different. Because like I said, you never know what you're going to like and what's going to appeal to you. So there's a lot of ways you could be creative in life. There's a lot of ways people are really creative out, jacking up their cars and making their cars look good, or detailing them to make them shine. Some people are creative writers and creative poets, and some people are creative filmmakers. Some people, like I said, are creative bakers. Think about the creative process. What defines the creative process? Is it success or failure? Are we defined by our creativity by the number of dollar signs in our bank account, or the number of digits that we have on our phones? Or is our creativity defined by all the likes that we might have on a particular post, as I said before? Or is success defined, or do we define success? There's a lot of ways we can to express our creativity and to accept feedback. Feedback, I think, is important. So success or failure is feedback. Whether someone likes or dislikes something that you're doing, they give you feedback. That's important, because feedback is the breakfast of champions. Feedback is what a creative person craves more than anything. Sometimes out here in social media land, we just want to know that someone is appreciating what we're doing. We just want to know, give us a like, give us a comment, let us know, subscribe to our channel, or don't subscribe. That's okay, but let us know. Sometimes we're in a hurry. We're so busy in life. We're doing this, doing that, trying to take care of ourselves, and sometimes just to get to the next day. And, we sit down with our fingers on our devices, and we're trying to connect to the digital world, and we're trying to stay connected to the real world, and we're trying to learn news and keep up with family members and keep up with things that are going on, and to try to feel relevant, to try to keep up. And sometimes in our fast-paced, hectic life, we try to do too much, and we forget the little things. So sometimes just hitting that like button, commenting, or just telling a coworker, hey, you're doing a good job and I appreciate all that you're doing, and that would mean the world to someone sometimes. You never know. So feedback is important to a creative person. Think about, how many times, like, when you're creating something, when you're writing something or you're baking cookies or whatever you're doing, you're the first person that tastes that cookie. You're the first person that reads that, finished work or unfinished work. And so you're your first critic. And sometimes your harshest critic, and sometimes your biggest fan. And sometimes people create things and they don't share it with anyone, because they don't feel like it's good enough, or they worry about what other people might think, so they hold it in, they stick it in a shoebox and hide it in the shed for years and barely even think about it. Why start a YouTube channel? Why do anything like that to put yourself out there, to do anything creative, to write a story, to send it to an agent, or to try to get published, or to do anything these days, to put yourself out there, because people get their feelings hurt so often. They get to do things that they don't know what's going to happen with it, or they got dollar signs in their eyes. You should first write to please yourself. You should first create to please yourself, and to want to maybe then extend that creativity and share it with others, and maybe others will get inspired and feel good, and give them a laugh or a smile, or just to pass the time sometimes in the doctor's office when you're wanting to just pass the time because you're waiting forever to try to go see the doctor. So feedback's important. Give feedback, ask for feedback, and just be creative. Follow your passions and do what you would like to do, and whether success comes, that's great. Sometimes creative people they can be surrounded by people in a family, in a life, in a culture, in a business, in a region. You can be surrounded by people, but creative people can exist in a creative void where they're just craving, like, is anybody paying attention? Is anybody noticing? And sometimes that you can have friends, and you can have a online community, for example. There's plenty of things out there where you can reach out there creatively and find like-minded creative people in the same areas that you're passionate about. You can get out there and reach out there and touch those people, and to share your creative thoughts and opinions and works with them, and hope that you reach some kind of a feeling of camaraderie and fellowship with those creative people. There are sort of things out there, and don't exist in a creative void. Share your creative works. Even if one person in a million likes it or appreciates it, that's worth it. Or don't share it. It's okay if you don't want to share. If you want to keep it to yourself and close to your heart, that's okay too. But just be creative. Think creatively, live creatively, and just be creative and enjoy your life. And don't forget, in the end of the day, it's not about you or me. It's about the life we lead, the memories we make, and the meaning we find along the way. So thank you for listening to me ramble on about being creative, and we hope that you have a great day, and just get out and enjoy the sun. See you next time.